5 seconds. That's all it takes for a Sigma brain to decide. Whether to detach or stay loyal, whether to fight or disappear into the shadows. Now let me ask you, Sigmas. Have you ever felt like someone was slowly draining the life out of your mind while smiling to your face? Like every silent judgment, every manipulative word was designed to chip away at who you are? Let me take you into a story. He was the quiet storm, independent, focused, emotionally intelligent, a man who didn't crave the spotlight but always knew exactly who he was. Until one day, she walked in. She didn't shout, she didn't hit, but every day she made him feel less. She made jokes about his solitude, mocked his independence, called his silence weakness. And slowly, piece by piece, the Sigma began to unravel. But here's the bold truth. When you emotionally abuse a Sigma male, you don't break him. You awaken something powerful within him. Welcome to today's video. This is what happens to Sigma brain when they are emotionally abused. This isn't just a story, it's a revelation, it's a warning. And it's a blueprint for every Sigma who's ever been misunderstood, manipulated, or mistreated. Let's break it down. Number 1, the Sigma brain, a fortress of thought. Sigmas aren't like the average guy. Their minds aren't built for emotional chaos. They're engineered for precision, reflection, and quiet strength. While others may react to emotional abuse with yelling, tears, or confusion, Sigmas respond in a more calculated way. They don't explode, they observe, they study, and they remember. Think of it like this. Being in a toxic relationship for a Sigma is like watching a psychological thriller unfold in real time, except they're also the detective. Their emotional intelligence isn't loud, but it's highly tuned. Research shows that people with introverted, analytical personalities often process emotions more deeply than extroverts, which makes Sigmas hyper-aware of subtle manipulation tactics like gaslighting, guilt-tripping, and blame-shifting. When emotional abuse begins, the Sigma doesn't always call it out immediately. They're gathering data, how often the manipulation occurs, how it's delivered, and how it's disguised. A Sigma might quietly think, did she just twist my words and make it look like it's my fault? That's when the internal alarm starts to go off. What makes Sigmas different is that they don't internalize the abuse. They don't believe the lies, they decode them. And once the pattern is clear, the mental boundaries snap into place. It's not a fight. It's a silent exit strategy. Studies in cognitive psychology support this kind of response. People with high levels of self-awareness and independence, traits common in Sigma males, are less likely to become trapped in abusive cycles. They're not reactive, they're responsive. They may not say much, but trust. They're already 3 steps ahead. So while others are caught in the emotional web, the Sigma is quietly cutting the threads, planning his way out, and leveling up. He doesn't just survive emotional abuse, he learns from it and refuses to repeat it. Number 2, emotional abuse triggers their inner lone wolf. At first, the Sigma male might try to adapt. He'll question himself, wondering if he's being too cold or too distant. That's because Sigmas are introspective by nature. They're thinkers, analyzers, always examining their place in the world and how they affect others. But here's the turning point. Once the Sigma realizes the emotional discomfort isn't coming from within but from subtle manipulation or emotional games, he doesn't just step back, he shifts entirely. He goes full lone wolf mode. And when a Sigma disappears emotionally, you'll never find your way back in. This isn't about being dramatic, it's about self-preservation. Emotional withdrawal is not a tantrum, it's a quiet, deliberate strategy. Psychologists call this response detachment with awareness. It's common among people who value emotional clarity and independence. Unlike avoidance, which stems from fear, this kind of withdrawal is rooted in strength. The Sigma male isn't escaping, he's protecting his peace. He withdraws, not out of weakness, but as a calculated move of self-protection. Studies in behavioral psychology have shown that individuals who are highly self-reliant tend to disengage from toxic social dynamics rather than confront them with emotional volatility. This doesn't mean they don't care, it means they know the value of their energy and won't waste it on games. If you've ever been made to feel guilty for your boundaries, your solitude, or your independence, remember this: solitude is not a flaw. In a world addicted to constant connection, the ability to be alone without being lonely is a superpower. And for the Sigma male, it's his core strength. He doesn't isolate because he's broken. He separates to stay whole. Number 3, they begin to rewire their identity. Emotional abuse can either break a person or reveal who they truly are. For Sigma males, it's almost always the latter. While most people might crumble under constant manipulation, gaslighting, or belittling, Sigmas respond differently. Their solitude-loving, introspective nature gives them the perfect environment to transmute pain into power. When a Sigma goes through emotional abuse, they don't waste time seeking validation from the abuser or the crowd. Instead, they do what they do best: retreat, reflect, and rebuild. It's like upgrading their mental operating system. Books become their weapons, knowledge their shield. Neuroscience backs this up. Reading activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain involved in emotional regulation and decision-making. Meditation, that's not just a buzzword. It's been shown to physically change the brain, thickening the gray matter in areas linked to resilience and self-awareness. They start journaling, which psychologists have found helps process trauma, reduce stress, and improve mood. The gym becomes therapy. Exercise releases endorphins and improves brain chemistry. Countering the emotional fog abuse often leaves behind. Then comes the real breakthrough, rediscovering their core self. The version that existed before the manipulation, before the guilt trips, before someone tried to convince them they were too cold, too distant, or too hard to love. And when that version returns, it's not just restored, it's enhanced. Imagine the Sigma walking into a room again, no longer needing to explain themselves, no longer second-guessing their boundaries. Coffee, black, eyes clear, energy unreadable. They quote Nietzsche not to sound smart, but because they've lived it. "That which does not kill me makes me stronger" is no longer a quote. It's a lived experience. Sigmas don't just bounce back from emotional abuse, they bounce higher, sharper, and more focused. Because the truth is, emotional abuse never destroys a Sigma, it just sharpens their edges and makes them even more untouchable. Number 4, they develop an unshakable emotional firewall. One of the strangest and most powerful effects of emotional abuse is that it teaches the Sigma male exactly what not to tolerate ever again. While emotional abuse can be deeply painful, it acts like a forge, refining the Sigma mind through fire. Each toxic experience becomes a mental blueprint of what must be avoided at all costs. Every subtle manipulation, every passive-aggressive message, every guilt trip wrapped in the illusion of love. The Sigma doesn't just endure it, he analyzes it, stores it, and builds an internal firewall against it. It's like emotional antivirus software. Every red flag gets detected within seconds. Where others might excuse bad behavior or second-guess themselves, the Sigma has been through the storm and now recognizes the warning signs without hesitation. This heightened awareness is not paranoia, it's pattern recognition. Research in psychology shows that those who have experienced emotional abuse often develop sharper emotional intelligence and stronger boundaries over time, especially if they are introspective. Sigma males, being naturally independent and analytical, use their experience as data to upgrade their emotional operating system. Fake apologies noted and rejected, performative vulnerability decoded and dismissed, conditional affection identified and shut down. Emotional abuse doesn't destroy their ability to trust, it just recalibrates their radar. They no longer give people the benefit of the doubt by default. Instead, trust is earned through consistent action, not empty words. This is where Sigma males become emotionally untouchable, not because they are cold or distant, but because they are emotionally precise. They can love deeply, but not foolishly. They can empathize, but not be exploited. So, in a strange twist, emotional abuse becomes a kind of cruel teacher, and though the lessons are harsh, the Sigma emerges stronger, smarter, and sharper. Not broken, refined. Number 5, they channel the pain into purpose. Here's where Sigmas rise. While the average person might get trapped in emotional loops, resentment, self-doubt, or victimhood, the Sigma male takes a different path. He doesn't wallow, he works. He channels pain into purpose, setbacks into strategy, and criticism into clarity. Sigmas understand a vital truth backed by psychology. Adversity can trigger post-traumatic growth. This is the phenomenon where individuals emerge from hardship not just resilient, but radically transformed. Sigmas lean into this process. They don't just recover, They rebuild. Where others see obstacles, Sigmas see openings. Heartbreak becomes a lesson in self-worth. Betrayal becomes a blueprint for stronger boundaries. Instead of reacting emotionally, they respond intelligently. That's why you'll often find Sigmas creating businesses, launching personal brands, writing books, sculpting their physiques, or carving out space where no one else dared. They aren't just healing, they're constructing legacies. Every insult they've heard, filed away and converted into fuel. Every manipulation they've endured, studied and turned into wisdom. Every tear they've shed, remembered and repurposed as a turning point. If you're buried in the ashes right now, wondering if this is the end, think again. The Sigma male doesn't rise like a phoenix. He doesn't wait for wings. He erupts like a volcano, quiet at first, then undeniable. When he moves, people feel it. There's power in that silence, in that inner grind, in knowing your story isn't over, it's just getting interesting. So the next time someone thinks they've broken a Sigma, they might want to look again, because he wasn't falling apart. He was just taking notes. And that comeback? It's going to be legendary. Are you channeling your pain into power today? Number 6, they no longer seek validation, they demand respect. Emotional abuse is one of the most destructive forces in a person's life, with its long-lasting effects often being felt deep within the psyche. One of the most painful aspects of emotional abuse is the erosion of self-worth. The constant undermining of your value, your voice, and your identity can leave you feeling invisible, questioning who you are and what you deserve. This is a journey that many, unfortunately, must endure. However, those who adopt the Sigma mindset, those who embrace their independence, choose to see through the lies and games that are played in toxic relationships. A Sigma male, someone who thrives on self-reliance and autonomy, reacts to emotional abuse differently than others. Instead of sinking into despair or trying to explain his silence, he simply stops participating in the cycle altogether. One of the key traits of a Sigma is an inner strength that does not rely on external validation. He no longer feels the need to explain himself or justify his actions to anyone. His silence is not a cry for attention, but a conscious choice to protect his peace and maintain his dignity. Furthermore, the Sigma male doesn't feel the need to seek understanding from those who refuse to see him for who he truly is. This lack of dependency on others' approval means that when someone attempts to put him down or question his worth, he doesn't take it personally. Instead of fighting for validation, he holds on to his inner certainty. He rises above petty criticisms and toxic behavior. He understands that the only approval that matters is his own. The true power of the Sigma mindset lies in its self-reliance and emotional resilience. The Sigma male becomes the standard for what it means to be untouchable, not in the sense of being unreachable, but in the sense of being impervious to the negative energy that others may try to project onto him. He becomes a benchmark of emotional strength where the choice is simple. You either rise to meet him or you get left behind. In his journey of healing, the Sigma does not seek others' acknowledgement. He heals not to seek approval, but to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. His healing is not for the sake of winning others over. It is for the purpose of becoming untouchable, impervious to emotional manipulation, and fully aware of his worth. Through this transformation, he embodies an emotional freedom that others may never understand. Number 7, they become teachers without trying. The beauty of Sigma males lies in their ability to heal and transform without drawing attention to it. Unlike others who may shout their struggles or share every detail of their journey, Sigmas quietly rebuild themselves and let their actions speak volumes. They don't need to broadcast their growth on social media or make grand declarations of self-improvement. Their healing process is subtle yet powerful, and it's reflected in how they live. Their peace is not a show, it's the foundation of their strength. When you've healed, you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. Your peace is intimidating because it's a reminder that you've mastered the art of inner calm, no longer disturbed by external chaos. It's this silent strength that inspires others to do the same, to stop reacting to the noise around them and find their own sense of peace. Their silence also teaches. In a world that constantly demands opinions and noise, the Sigma male's ability to remain composed and thoughtful is a lesson in itself. While others may rant and vent, the Sigma male listens, observes, and responds with intention. The silence becomes a mirror for others, showing them the power of restraint and the value of measured responses. And then there are their boundaries, clear, firm, and non-negotiable. A Sigma knows that self-respect starts with the respect of one's limits. By standing firm in their boundaries, they not only protect their energy, but also show others how to do the same. So no words are needed. Just by existing in their healed Sigma energy, they naturally attract respect and attention, guiding others without saying a word. Number 8, they attract what they deserve. After experiencing emotional abuse, Sigma males don't just move on, they elevate. They don't settle for the same old dynamics that drained them in the past. Instead, they become more selective about who they allow into their lives, and most importantly, their energy. This process of refining their circle is intentional and strategic. Much like a job interview, Sigmas approach interactions with a discerning eye, evaluating whether someone's values align with theirs. They carefully assess what's being said, but more importantly, they read between the lines, picking up on the subtleties in tone, body language, and intent. They know that red flags can often show up in a conversation long before any behavior becomes apparent. Sigmas develop a heightened awareness where they no longer fall for the superficial charm or polished words. Instead, they are tuned into the underlying frequencies of a person's energy. Are they genuinely interested in who you are, or are they just trying to get something from you? Are they respectful of your boundaries, or do they make you feel like you're constantly on edge? Healing in this context doesn't make them harder or colder. It refines them. It allows them to see things more clearly, sharpening their intuition. They no longer feel the need to chase connection or fit into someone else's narrative. Instead, they focus on creating alignment with those who resonate with their own sense of peace, authenticity, and growth. Sigmas come to understand that when someone is threatened by their calm, confident, and centered energy, it's a reflection of that person's internal struggles, not the Sigma's fault. As they embrace their newfound clarity, Sigmas unapologetically say, "If my vibe disturbs your toxicity, that's a you problem, sweetheart." They know that their peace is non-negotiable, and they'll protect it at all costs. Here's what you must remember, Sigmas. Emotional abuse may feel like a war against your mind, but the Sigma doesn't lose himself in the chaos. He finds his core. You become more strategic, more focused, more powerful. And when you walk away, it's not in pieces, it's on purpose, because the Sigma brain isn't designed to be destroyed. It's built to evolve, Sigmas. If this video lit something inside you, if it helped you see your journey in a new light, then hit that like button and smash that subscribe. This is more than a channel, it's a movement, a place where Sigma minds gather, sharpen, and rise together. Apply the Sigma qualities to your life, and you'll see how impactful independent living transforms everything, from your mindset to your relationships. Stay true and stay Sigma.